Well, I'm sure by now all of you are aware that Woodmore are the online expert when it comes to spare parts. And the best point is that they have the spare parts for all vehicles available in India. So even if your car is out of production now, maybe you have a large generation model, even then they have the spare part available. They have the entire catalog. And the best point is that they have the same spare part from a host of different component makers, which gives you great flexibility in the pricing overall. So check them out today. Check out the app. It's available both for iOS as well as Android devices. And also check out the website for the latest schemes as well as offers. Well, so my preference is 5'10", and as always, I have just the front seat for my height and driving position. And as you can see, there is loads of knee room over here, ample amount of knee room, and headroom also is more than sufficient, more than generous. So if you're about 6 also, you should have no issues in this car. Even 6'1", you should be quite okay in terms of headroom as well as knee room. And as I said, this is really the opulence in terms of the technology that it offers, in terms of luxury, really the best in the business. Again, you get these nice lights all across, so this really lifts up the mood. And of course you also get this tab device over here with which you can use a lot of the apps which are available, and you can also change a lot of the settings like the comfort setting over here. You can use a lot of stuff over here, like seat positioning can be changed. These seats go back as well, so you can use this to recline them. Of course you can also incline them by a fair bit, as you can see on the side. And these are things which really make the overall experience inside this car even more engaging and even better than it is already. You can also take this tab out. It's not that you have to keep it inside. You can take it out as well and use it. And it's a very soft kind of ejection system, and you can use it. It's a Samsung tab, but it works really well. And of course you get your own AC vents at the back, and also your own climate control zone. 4 climate control zones, 2 in the front and 2 at the back. Almost flat floor, but really whoever's sitting here will not want a third passenger. You'll only want 2, so you can sit here like the boss. I mean, lighting, lots of sensors, really exemplary build quality and exemplary materials inside the EQS. And of course, as I said, this is the pinnacle of luxury at the pinnacle of engineering, and this car befits the Mercedes logo on it. And I have to say that this cabin is exemplary in terms of the quality, in terms of the features, in terms just of the sitting experience inside this car. The big 56-inch hyperscreen is the big talking point. And of course, you get 3 different screens over here, one for the passenger, one for the center for the infotainment, and one for the driver, and of course, heads-up display. Now, there are lots of features to talk about, so let's talk about some of them, because I can't really talk about all of them. This video will be over 30 minutes long otherwise. The biggest highlight of this car, of course, is the ADAS level 2 features, which of course use a lot of radars, cameras as well as sensors, and you get adaptive cruise control, lane departure warning, lane keep assist, and a host of other features as well. You get a Burmester sound system with over 15 speakers, and the sound quality is excellent because it's a 700 watt system. Bass levels, dynamic range, everything is excellent and really fantastic. You also get 9 airbags, which makes it a very safe car. 5-star Euro NCAP safety crash test rating with this car. And apart from that, you also get cool front seats, massage function in these seats, different driving modes to choose from, individual modes to choose from, and of course the MBUX app, My Mercedes app, where all you do is simply say, "Hey Mercedes, hey Mercedes,
how can I help?
I'm feeling hot."
I'm reducing the temperature to minimum.
So Mercedes will reduce the temperature. It'll do a lot of features for you if you call "Hey Mercedes" and do it. And voice-based commands. You also get a lot of fancy stuff inside this car, like you get a valet mode in case you park this kind of fancy 5-star hotel and give your keys to the valet. Then you can use that mode. The top speed is reduced. It uses GPS, and then the GPS will direct the valet to your home, so you don't have to worry about any mishaps with the car. You also get a feature where you can, of course, choose what time you're driving the car, and the car will note that time down. And then if you're calling up a friend, or if you're listening to particular music, then the car will, again, when you sit inside the car on the next weekend on the same dates, it'll prompt you and tell you should you call that friend, whether you want to use the same music and stuff like that. So it's a very intelligent car, very good car in terms of the features as well as the comfort. And I have to say that the materials inside the car are all man-made materials. And also I have to remind you that some people don't buy cars, because luxury cars, because of the leather, and they say I don't want to buy a leather seat. But this car has man-made materials. Two options to choose from, this beige and a grey color as well. And apart from all these features, another thing is that this car uses 80% recyclable stuff. So some of the components used are recycled, and most of the components on this car can be recycled at a future date. So it is a pure EV, not only in terms of just being the drivetrain EV, but also taking care of the environment in the long term. Well, let's quickly show you the boot of the car. Now, to open the boot, you need to press the Mercedes logo over here and it automatically goes up. Now, as you can see, it's a lift back. It goes all the way with the hatch, so it's like a hatchback boot. It's not like the S-Class where you only have the boot section opening. It's 610 litres, which is quite massive by any shade of the imagination. So, whoever's traveling in this car on those long distance journeys, because remember it has a long range, will not have any issues. Weekend getaways, long weekend getaways, going to Big Bazaar for those trips to get your ration, everything will be taken care of. No issues in the boot, and of course, the powered tailgate. So all you do is just press this button, and this boot will close, and you don't have to do some heavy lifting. Now, of course, we're in the factory today, so you'll see a lot of activity behind us, but that's quite okay because, as I said, we're at the Pune plant of Mercedes Benz, and this car is made in India. That's also another proud moment for Indians, because the EQS, first time ever that Mercedes is producing it out of Germany, and India is the country which is producing it for the first time outside of Germany. Let's get into the driving bits and start driving this car. Well, so now I'm driving the Mercedes EQS, as you can see, and we drove it in the city, we drove it briefly up the highway, and now we're driving it up the hills, as you can see, and we're driving it to Hamby Valley, just outside of Pune. And I have to say that this is a very quick car, very quick responding car. Now, the big benefit of driving an EV, of course, is that it cocoons you from everything outside, and then there are some things that can really irritate you inside the cabin, like a bottle which is rattling. I'll just stop the car, take that bottle out and keep it in the back seat, and whilst I do that, I'll also give you an important message. This was a bottle which was rattling, and I'll just keep it over here so that it doesn't rattle anymore. Now, the important message is that whenever you're starting your car off, always wear your seat belt, and the seat belt is your first safety device inside a car. So it doesn't matter whether you're sitting in the front or the back, always belt up, because unless you wear a seat belt, the other safety equipment will be quite redundant. Anyways, so as I was mentioning, now there's no rattle from the bottle. Yes, the cocooned cabin of this car really keeps you in a lap of luxury and keeps you away from all the other paraphernalia outside, trucks, buses, those scooters, all those motors, especially in a city like Pune, where those people come and cut you across. This car will just keep you safe and away from all of them, and that's something which you'll really appreciate about the cabin of this car. It's inherently quiet. Now remember, there are two electric motors which are powering up this car, and the total output is in excess of 500 bhp and 855 newton meters of torque, which makes it a very, very powerful car. And you also get a very punchy performance from this car, because Mercedes claim 0 to 100 in a shade over 4 seconds, and we think that that is quite achievable, because we have been driving this car since the morning, and that quick acceleration is possible in the sport mode. But really, this car isn't about that quick acceleration. It's about the ease of driving and the hassle-free nature of driving. And even though it's a 5.2 meter car in length, it's really a long car, you never feel its girth in the city or even on the highway, because this car just wraps itself around the occupants so well that you never feel the girth of this car. And by that I mean that the visibility all across is excellent. You get a lot of safety aids, blind assist, as well as lane keep assist and stuff like that, because remember, this is ADAS level 2. And apart from all this, you also get a very light steering wheel, which even in its sportier setting, the sportiest of sportiest settings, even then this steering wheel remains quite light and quite accurate. So that's something nice. What you'll also like is the light controls. The gas stalk is quite easy to operate. It's over here. You don't have to use it manually over here. Just a flick of the fingers, you can shift gears like in all Mercedes cars. And of course, what you'll also appreciate is the fact that the car is quite good in terms of the dynamic ability. The ride comfort is truly exemplary, like all Mercedes cars. And apart from that, you also get very good cushioning from the suspension. It really does soak in the bumps. We're driving on a less than smooth surface right now, and even then there aren't too many badly patched up roads or potholes which are affecting the cabin. So it really is like an S-Class in that department. It feels very good. One more thing which you'll appreciate, of course, is the fact that the rear wheels also, they do steer this car about 10 degrees they move, which means that the turning radius of such a big behemoth of a vehicle is very good. It's quite small, and in fact Mercedes says that it can even beat some compact cars in terms of the turning radius. So that's something which a lot of customers will truly appreciate about the EQS as well, especially you drive in the city. Now, in terms of safety kit, we haven't tested that, and I'm sure it works very well. But I have to say that in our chaotic traffic and chock-a-block traffic, sometimes all those safety devices like the emergency braking and stuff like that, they can just interfere a little bit too much, because cyclists and two-wheeler people, they do cut lanes and do come in front of you sometimes. So in that sense, it'll really keep you safe, it'll keep you secure, and it's just the kind of vehicle you want to be inside with your entire family. And of course, the Mercedes Me app is also a big benefit. So really, it's been a very nice car to drive. It's not the sportiest handling cars, but then if you're a keen driver, you can still have some good fun. Mercedes, of course, has tuned the suspension more towards comfort, as all Mercedes cars are tuned more for comfort rather than outright handling. But even then, there's some fun to be had. You can't term it boring, or you can't really term it a car which is dull to drive. And definitely for keener drivers, they will enjoy the experience of this car. Now, I have to say that because it's an EV, you have to be very careful with your right leg. You can't really flex it, just without thinking, because you just punch it a couple of inches down, or even half an inch sometimes, and this car just lunges forward. Performance is so good, and there's no turbocharger waiting to spool like diesel or petrol cars. So in that sense, you've got to be very careful with your right leg. And also, it does mask its speed very well. Yes, so you're doing maybe 100, 120 kph, and sometimes those speeds are illegal on some highways. So you've got to be careful, otherwise a challan will come to your doorstep if you're not careful. So those are a couple of things that you have to keep in mind when you're driving this car, especially out on the open road like we've been doing in the morning. Well, so the Mercedes EQS 580 seems to have it all. It has 850 kilometer range, which means that range anxiety is taken care of. It has very opulent interiors, feature loaded and tech loaded with the latest kit in terms of safety as well as comfort. And of course, it really looks very nice on the outside, and the interiors with that huge screen is exemplary to be sitting in. If you're lucky enough to have this kind of cash lying around, I'd suggest forget that diesel or petrol luxury car and simply go ahead and buy this. It's going to be an exclusive car because it's really very new right now, and being an EV also means that you're doing your own bit for the environment. So check this car out. It's also a proud car for Indians, because first time Mercedes is making the EQS outside Germany. All these things only mean one thing, and that is that this is the best EV luxury car out there in the market. So bye for now, and thanks so much for watching this video.